We are live, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. Thank you for tuning in to the Preston Show, episode number 19. Glad you could be here. Glad you could join me. Whoever watches this, you are a great friend of mine. I appreciate you. So what we'd like to talk about today, give you a little rundown. That's what I like to do. We like to do a little rundown here. NIH Study. Big National Institute of Health study has come out. We need to talk about it. Taco Bell debuting nacho fries. What the hell's going on? Some Super Bowl talk, not too much now. And the most important thing I want to talk about today is a message to millennials that I hope gets to them one way or another, whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow, hopefully sometime in the future here. Listen, I'm always glad when everybody can tune in to the Preston Show. Everybody's busy. You got things to do. I completely understand. The NIH study that's come out today. Well, not today, but I'm talking about it today. But it just came out recently. It's cell phones causing tumors in lab rats. What in the hell's going on? So we got something that everybody basically carries around with them at this point, right? You got a cell phone. You carry it around with you. You have it everywhere you go. They're finding out that in male lab rats or mice, whatever the hell you want to call them, that this cell phone is causing tumors in them. So I think we all need to re-examine how much we keep this cell phone up to our head, up to our body, up to any part of you. You need to maintain a certain repetition of just keeping that thing the hell away from you throughout the day. I mean, that's the best advice I can give you. They're finding studies that, and the National Institute of Health is a great place to go for news. It's better than Facebook. It's better than Instagram. It's better than YouTube. Look, if you want your news, go to the source. It's the best advice I can give you about news. Go to the source. You want to hear it from the horse's mouth. You don't want to hear it from Susan, whoever the hell. Get it from the source. That's the best advice I can give you. But what it comes down to is the new studies that are being produced and are coming out, and we can have a lot of faith in science because science is something that goes back and re-examines itself, unlike a lot of us. We're all guilty of it. But science is something that goes back and re-examines itself to try to get it right. They don't want to be right. They want to get it right. You got to love people and entities like that. So when we're looking at science and it's telling us, hey, the cell phone's causing tumors, Wi-Fi, bad for your brain. We got to be careful, and we got to be able to use these things in moderation. The cell phones that women put next to their breast or in their bra, they're starting to find that the breast cancer is coming out to be in that shape. So women, ladies, be careful out there. I'm just giving you this piece of advice because I don't hear it being talked about anywhere. So you're going to hear it on the Preston Show, especially if it's not heard anywhere else. The first time I heard Taco Bell bring up nacho fries, I thought, hell no. So I try to put rational thoughts together, right? Trying to put rational thoughts together, trying to be decent about it. And the more I think, the more I'm starting to realize that this is a great idea. This is a good idea. What it comes down to, when you look at fast food and you look at Taco Bell, which is supposed to be Mexican food, and authentic Mexican food is what they claim, well, it's as close as you can get in a drive-through setting. So I would say hell yes at this point, because you got McDonald's over there, $2.59 large fry get you nowhere except your clogged arteries and everything else good that comes with that. So at the end of the day, $2.59 for a large fry, $2.59 for a large fry, when I could go get nacho fries that are cheaper. And you could go to KFC and get the potato wedges, which are a hell of a lot better for you than French fries and a hell of a lot cheaper. So, it's about pick and choosing your battles when you're out there and you're doing your shopping or you're doing your eats, whatever it is. Man, it's about pick and choosing your battles. When it comes to the Super Bowl, only a couple things I want to talk about when it comes to Super Bowl. It was a great game. It's a back and forth game. We all know, and at least I know, and I'm sure a lot of people that watch football or just watch sports in general know that if you score 40 points, you're supposed to win. So the Eagles did that. They scored 41 points. They won. So they did what they were supposed to do. My issue is I don't want to hear the talk about the Eagles' defense being good. Sick of hearing it. I'm turning on every damn sports station, and that's what they want to talk about. That defense has got nothing on the Baltimore Ravens defense of 2000. It's got nothing on, the Bears defense of 05 when they were in the Super Bowl against the Colts. It's got nothing on that. It's got nothing on the Packers defense of 2011. It's got nothing on that. They lucked out at the end of the day. They played a better game. They won, whatever you want to say. Tom Brady put up 500 yards. They scored 30-some-odd points. If you're going to talk about a defense being good, that's one thing. When you're going to talk about great defenses, that's a whole separate discussion that I'm not ready to put the Eagles in that category. But I will say, on the other hand, that offense and that quarterback, Nick Foles running that offense, he deserves to start on that team. And I think Carson Wentz should honorably take a seat. Take a seat. Because this man just gave something Philly has never gotten, which is a Super Bowl championship. There's also some strange things that happened in the Super Bowl, or during the Super Bowl. One strange thing was Brandon Cooks was the best receiver for the New England Patriots, and Rob Gronkowski's not a receiver, he's a tight end, so we got to make sure we get this right. Brandon Cooks was knocked out of the game. No flags were thrown. It was a dirty hit. It was not a legal hit. That was a dirty hit. That type of hit should not be in football. Those are the type of hits that are going to put the game out of commission. And, if you don't believe me, watch. Watch the next 5 years and how this turns out. Because I guarantee the Patriots won't let that go. And I guarantee the NFL commissioner is paying attention. Or at least I hope he is. What I'm looking at was there some type of bounty on this man? The way he was taken out was pretty damn vicious. So you also got to look at the fact that Rob Gronkowski's house was robbed while he was playing in the Super Bowl. What the hell's going on? So, like I said, there's always some strange things that happen during the Super Bowl. It's always a very interesting game. Whether your team's in it or not, it's always an interesting game. You can't say that for a lot of sports. I really don't say that for baseball. I'm not watching the World Series if it's not the White Sox in there. If it's not even the Cubs, right? It's like if even the Cubs don't make it, I'm not watching it. So, NBA, all right, I'll watch that. Hockey, maybe one game, maybe 2 games. If it's not the Hawks, the Blackhawks didn't make it, it's probably not for me. It's, maybe for the diehard hockey fan. But really, I'm a diehard Blackhawks fan. So that's where I'm going to draw the line when it comes to sports. I mean, NFL is still one of the sports you're going to watch, that the biggest game, the Super Bowl, the finale of the season. You're going to check that out. You're going to see it because it's so big and you probably grew up with it. Someone in your family, mom or dad, they got you into it, brother or sister, someone got you into it in the family. And that's usually where that love of sports comes from. Very rarely do you see people develop that on their own. It's just food for thought. When we look at the millennials coming up today, and you have some that decided to follow the hitting the air duster route. You've decided to see some that are doing the Tide Pod challenge and all this other goofy shit that's on the social media and everywhere else. I got to take a step back and kind of put things in perspective for myself at what the hell's going on. There's a big problem that's not being talked about. I think millennials, in my opinion, this is just professional opinion here, I believe that they are taking too much advice. We always hear that people want advice or are going to look for advice. I'm gonna put it like this. Once you turn 25, your frontal cortex grows in, your brain's fully developed. At that point, you're able to put rational thoughts together. You're able to understand the logic and the reasoning behind what the hell you're saying. And until you're 25, you really don't see it that way. Believe me, it's a reality. It is a reality. Until you're 25, you really won't see it that way. So come to me when you're 25, and believe me, you're going to feel different. You're going to feel a lot different. because I did. Those first 2 months after I turned 25, way different. Like big league. Like I'm talking nothing I've ever experienced before in my adult life. So when you turn 25, it's a different ball game. Testosterone starts to simmer down for us men. We start to be able to focus on what's important. And like I said, your brain's fully developed. As millennials go from the ages and they get up to, let's say, about 24, maybe 23, you want to start pulling back on advice from people that aren't in the same field as you, maybe not working that same outlet, maybe haven't been there, haven't done that. Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got one. So if you're looking for the right advice, you need to go into that field. You need to go after and ask those questions to people who are doing it. It's like you wouldn't take money advice from a homeless guy. So why the hell would you take any type of advice from anybody that's out of your profession that has never even worked in it? There's no common sense there. Common sense is going to rule the day. There's no common sense there. So I think after you hit 25, you should stop relying on advice and start relying on your experiences. Stop listening to the YouTube wormhole. Stop listening to the spoon-fed news, the Facebook timeline junk. And if you want to look at it, that's cool. We all do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. It's not going to work. So I'd say do it in moderation. Keep your mind open. But also remember that your experiences in life, what you're going through on a day-to-day basis, is not the same as other people. So you can't expect them to understand exactly where you're coming from or even follow along. Half the time, and I would say more than half the time, the average person's attention span is 20 minutes. Some less. So that means when you have a conversation with somebody, in that first 20 minutes, that is really what they are going to obtain and retain after the conversation has ceased and after you've moved on from it. For millennials, you're a prime target for advertisements, for scams, for people to get you to spend every dollar that you make on some frivolous invention or idea. You also must watch out for people who, let's say, and I'll give a good example, a liberal who runs a company that sells conservative merchandise and conservative goods and promotes it like they're doing something right. They're doing something good. You got to watch out for the snakes in the grass. There's so many of them. There's too many people out here now that when you look around, you have to worry about who to trust. I've never, in my life, until about 2 years ago, seen the distrust and disloyalty in people, in relationships, in anything as much as I have. It's ridiculous. It's outlandish. When you talk about responsibility, when you talk about responsibility with your friends, your loved ones, whether you have kids, you talk to them about it, whatever it is, you also should include accountability into the same sentence, or at least the same paragraph, because I think it gets overlooked. On this show, at least every episode, I'm trying to talk about the value system. What do you value? Find things you value. What's important to you is not always going to be important to the next person. Doesn't mean it's not important. It just means it doesn't impact you the same way it does them. It's about keeping an open mind. If you want to be successful, you need to model yourself after successful people. But not just that. It's not that easy because it takes effort. And after effort, You have to make sure those people that you modeled yourself after were people who had work ethic that wouldn't give no matter what, right? They just kept going. They kept their head up, and they continue to work and keep their options open. Too many times, you get stuck in a position where you may be in a job, where you may be around some people, and you put your head down and just continue to go along with it. And that is the biggest mistake and the first mistake you're going to make. We're all going to make that mistake. So after you do that, you need to be able to pull back when you're alone, take the time, reflect on it, learn from it, and move on. Because you have to understand when you're wrong. And you have to understand why you're wrong in order to get it right. In order to continue to be the change in the world you want to see. Not only do you got to preach it, speak it into existence, you got to live it, right? You got to breathe it. You got to sweat it. And too often, I've caught myself worried about the small things. Too often, I've seen the closest people around me worried about the smallest details. At the end of the day, what do you have that you value? What will you look at? What will be important to you? What will you go to bed loving? And what will you wake up loving just the same? Those are what you should be focused on a day-to-day basis. We get caught up in the mud, caught up in the news. Left and right, we're getting hit with slam pieces about the president or someone in his party or someone on the Democrat Party or someone on some platform in New Guinea. We don't know what the hell we're going to get hit with on a day-to-day basis because we can't tell who the hell is controlling the news. Is it leftists? Is it radical people on the right? Is it people down the middle that just can't make up their mind so they hate everybody? Those are the things you shouldn't worry about anymore. Those are the things you need to move past. No one's going to help you. No one's going to hold your hand. And you shouldn't expect them to. So you got to hold your own hand. You got to lift it up. You got to say, I'm going a certain way in my life. Am I going to continue to go this way? Do the right thing. Ignore the noise. And push on with my value system and my beliefs. At all costs. We've all been in a situation that was grim, that fatigued you, that brought you back down to earth. You have to be able to bring yourself back down to earth so you don't have those situations pop up and kill your pride and kill your energy, your momentum. What you were doing yesterday should not matter today. It's about what you do today that is going to carry you on. It's not about tomorrow. You haven't got there yet. Every minute that goes by is $1 that goes by. So, we get paid by the hour. You might get paid salary or whatever it is. Maybe you just get one, whatever it is. However you get paid, compensation, whatever it is. You have to continue to strive, to put fear on the back burner, to know and understand that a commitment to yourself is the greatest commitment you're ever going to have. Because you could hand over fist for somebody else. Fight hand over fist for somebody else. But at the end of the day, what did you go to bed loving and wake up loving just the same? It only makes sense if there's logic and reason behind it. Can you put logic behind it? Can you put reason behind it? Were you able to do those things? Were you able to talk to somebody about it and not feel stupid about what you said? You're on the right track then. I've seen the laziness. I've been lazy. I've put things on the back burner. Let me tell you where that gets you. It gets you on Nowhere Street in Nowhereville with nobody. You have to make sure you're putting the right message out there. And no matter where you go, you got to stay out of the mud. People want to bring you in. Misery loves company. What are you going to do? What are you going to value that's going to continue to keep you above it? That's going to continue to push you where no one else can push you, because then we get defensive when we need to be on the offensive at all times, firing on all cylinders, because our generation is going to be the generation that has to do it. We can't leave it up to the next generation. We can't leave it up to the people that are under 18 to one day maybe they'll figure it out. We got to stop being so hard on ourselves, but we can't be easy on ourselves now. People pull back, and often we pull back on each other. Never feel bad about pushing your friend to be better. Never feel bad about making a comment that maybe didn't sound right, but it felt right. Feelings, emotions, these things are attached to the 3 pillars of your life: your mind, your body, and your spirit. When you have all 3 of those pillars hitting on all cylinders, I can tell you from experience, you will find true happiness. You can go on looking for it. You can go on searching it. You can grab the bow and arrow. You can grab the shotgun and go hunt for it. I'm telling you, when your 3 pillars, your mind, your body, and your spirit are lifted, nothing can stop you. Nothing can get in your way except yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, I love being here. I love having you here. Another episode of The Preston Show coming to you soon. I can only thank you for being here. It's all I can do. I can only thank you. I can't give you any money. I can thank you. I thank you for being here. Just like the hands of time, I'm turning it over to you. Good night, everybody.